6 o'clock now. I want to welcome y'all here tonight. Just have a couple comments. The Joint Committee hosts public hearings to receive suggestions and recommendations on how the Mississippi Legislature should redistrict itself and our 4 congressional districts. During the course of the hearings, as chair, I will offer members of the public an opportunity to give the committee, comments to the committee, or to give statements to the committee about our upcoming redistricting efforts. By custom, we try to give members of the public a free opportunity to say what they wish. In cases where it appears that there are going to be many persons who are to speak, we do limit the time. As to what limits we impose will be up to the chair depending on how many persons want to speak. I would like to remind you, just as a courtesy, that this is, we will be redistricting congressional districts and legislative districts, both House and Senate for the state. We will not be doing any county or city districts. We've had several questions about county and city districts, and I just want to make it clear that if that's what you want to comment about, that's fine, but that's not something that we will be doing. So at this time, as chair, I call this public hearing of the Joint Reapportionment Committee, Joint Congressional Redistricting Committee to order, and ask our council to call the roll of the members present.
Mr. Baggett.
Here.
Mr. Blackman. Mr. Brown. Mr. Eubanks. Mr. Ford. Here. Mr. Mango. Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Shanks.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. White. Mr. Kirby.
Here.
Mr. Bryan. Mr. DeVore. Mr. Harkins.
Here.
Mr. Hobson.
Here.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Simmons.
Here.
Mr. Tate.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want just to mention that, we don't have to have a quorum to take testimony, that we're simply trying to verify who is here, who has attended the meeting. We have other members who for various reasons are not here tonight, but I would like to take this chance. I don't think any member came in that's on the committee during this time, but we do have other members of the legislature who are present, and I'd like for them to introduce themselves if they want to.
Yes, I'm Bart Williams, Senator here in Starkville, District 15.
All right. I believe that's, thank you. I believe that is it. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank Mississippi State for hosting this event. This is a very, very nice place to have something like this. We are having 9 of these across the state. Try to make them where they're as convenient as possible for the different members of the state. They are being live streamed, so people who aren't here, members and members of the public, have an opportunity to watch the proceedings, and there'll be other ways that they can contribute. I want to thank our staff for setting everything up and for working with Mississippi State and making sure that the room is ready for us tonight, and also for all the help that they're going to give us in this process of redistricting and otherwise. And just and I want to, at this time, just, is there any member of the committee that would like to have anything to say? Senator Kirby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here in the Hal and Linda Parker Ballroom tonight. Good folks. I want to say that, of course, we have several senators because they've told me that they're watching that aren't here tonight. The Lieutenant Governor and his staff all are watching every night. So we'll let you know that even though some aren't here, we have a couple of members that aren't here in the Senate, but but they are watching along with several others, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Kirby. Is there anyone else that has a comment? All right. With that, we'll just begin by I would like to once again just thank our staff for graciously going through the testimony of the hearings, both in 2010 and the prior ones we've had. They've looked at transcripts and looked at some of the questions that were asked repeatedly and provided me with some information they think will be helpful to get out to the public and might answer either some questions that someone has that they don't ask, or just things that they have thought about, and and thank them for doing that. And you have people that would ask why do we redistrict? Seems very simple. I think all of us know that have always known it's just something we had to do, but there are reasons why we do that. We do it because both the federal constitutional requirements of one person, one vote requires redistrict both congressional districts and legislative districts every 10 years following the census. Additionally, Section 254 of our Constitution of 1890 requires that we redistrict the legislature. So we do this redistricting every 10 years because it's a requirement of the law that we do that. Additionally, we have asked when do we commence redistricting, and just I want the public to understand it has started. It started with our organizational meeting back about a month ago, and this is the 5th of the series of 9 public hearings that we have. This is just because of the qualifying deadlines that we have, especially the congressional qualifying deadlines are in January. They can start qualifying as early as January. So we cannot wait any longer. So our efforts at congressional redistricting will come first because of this, and will occur during the fall of this year, and we will work on the legislature during the months of 2022 legislative session. So it's our intention to do the congressional districts first and then do the legislative districts. And as you can tell by that time frame, we can't wait a lot longer to get started. We got to get started pretty soon. So, because the population shifts, we're going to face many challenges. There's maps that are scattered around the room, and the small maps that were made available to y'all contain estimates, and they show two 2020 population estimates for counties, showing where the Census Bureau projects gains and losses. As you can tell, some places we're going to go and have these hearings. There's population gain in the majority of the counties. Some places that we're going to go, you have the opposite problem. You have population loss, and we are required to have basically the same size districts everywhere. House district is 24,273 is the average size, and Senate districts 56,948, and then we have some tolerance, 5% tolerance. But on our congressional districts, we have basically a zero tolerance. So you can tell that because of these areas that have gained and lost population, even though the state has basically stayed the same population with a very small change, that's not true in different areas of the state. And so, you've got that difficulty in both gaining and losing population in districts causes problems. So it's a different set of problems, but it causes problems or challenges. And these maps are intended not for us to use to draw districts, but to give the public an idea of how many people must be in a district and how many people your county has. So you can tell kind of what areas are going to gain or lose. Why are we presenting these estimates instead of the data? the actual data. It says because of delays in producing the census data, the actual numbers we use in redistricting have not been available. Our staff actually received kind of official numbers today. They're not really official until September 30th, but kind of official numbers. The first precinct data really that we have, and they've just begun looking at. So these estimates that you have really is the most current information we have. We hope to do something different, and you know, the first set of data will be available. Like I say, it was available today, with the final official delivery occurring close to the end of September. These census estimates give us a good indication of where our challenges are, and they have been used in the past to assist the public in understanding what's going on. You know, as of noon, like I say, as of noon today, the redistricting staff downloaded the PL 94-171 data, which doesn't mean anything to me or you, but the more basically the more accurate data than what these estimates are. And you know, they got that from the U.S. Census Bureau. Our technical partners at Maris are working on organizing and preparing this data for use as we speak. Once prepared, the data will be put through a quality assessment and assurance process. Then maps and data will be prepared outlining changes at the Congressional, Senate, and State Senate, State House, and county levels. These products will be ready for presentation at our public hearing in Natchez on Monday, August 16th. And individual district maps and statistics will be available on legislative redistricting website in the coming days on a flow basis as they are completed. So, I mean, they can't do them all immediately. So they will begin loading them, and that's what they mean as on a flow basis. They'll begin loading them with the intention of having them all on there in a relatively short period of time. So if the district you're interested in is not on there in the next day or two, just keep checking. It will be on there, and you know, we should have that data to use then on the last 4 hearings. But you know, how many members of the public participate in the process? You know, and there's several ways that members of the public can participate in this process. One is by expressing your concerns at this hearing. We're here to hear your concerns this evening. We will listen to any matter that you wish to bring to our attention about how and where we draw congressional and legislative districts. Let members of we're to let members of the public know that they must sign a card with their name so the committee can call on them. So if there's anyone here that wants to make a comment, then you need to let the staff know and sign an index card with your name so we can call on that person. There'll be a time that we'll do that in just a few minutes. So you can ask for one if you want one. Like I said, the staff will be passing these out. Another way you can submit any suggestions to the committee in writing or by email. You don't have to comment tonight. If you got something you want to say and you just want to present that, or it's too long to say tonight, you'll have an opportunity to present that to committee. And you'll also you can take advantage of the opportunity to use the committee's public access computer terminals. So if you want to go and actually work on the computer terminals, there'll be a time set aside you can do that. Now, in a hearing, what kinds of concerns does the committee need to hear from the public? And we need to hear just anything that's on your mind is a simple answer. We've heard things about voting rights act concerns. We've heard about split precincts, splitting of municipalities, districts that are odd shaped. You're probably not going to have a question or a concern that somebody else hadn't already expressed, but that's fine. You have the right to express that concern, and just be aware that, I may call time on a member of the public as I see fit. The rules of the House govern joint committees, and we will handle such matters as the House would handle those issues. At this time is just like to recognize any members that has come in, and we thank you for your attendance, and I want to read this out. If you want to mail something in, if the public wants to contact the committee to provide information, you need to send this. And I know it's on your material, but I want y'all to just be patient. There are people watching that don't have the same material that you do, so I'm going to read this address out. They need to send it to Ted Booth, Staff Council, Joint Reapportionment Committee, P.O. Box 1204, Jackson, Mississippi 39215-1204. And you can send an email to ted.booth@peer, that's PEER.ms.gov. And so just please provide the information for staff to follow up, such as your email address and telephone number. So please don't send us any information and ask questions and not identify yourself, because they're not going to be able to get back with you if you don't. Public access for our congressional redistricting will commence following the delivery of the final PL 94-171 data, which should arrive at the close of September. The public access time will last for 3 weeks. So starting at early October, there'll be a 3-week period of time that you'll be able to work on the congressional redistricting plans. For legislature, it will occur, for legislative districts, it will occur January 1, 2022 and last for 3 weeks. Before we call on members of the public, is there anything that any member of the committee would like to add? All right. Well, thank you. At this time, we're going to open it up and for comments from the public, and the one I have right here is Ms. Yolanda Haddix.
Good evening. This is a Starkville statement, and this is to the Mississippi Joint Legislative Redistricting Committee from Mississippi Civil Engagement Roundtable, Mississippi State Conference NAACP, One Voice, NAACP, the Octavia County branch, which I'm the president, Yolanda has, which is representing. And this is for political appointment concerns in Octavia and Noxubee County. The process of redistricting is a critical component of a citizen's political rights to have a say in who represents them at a local, state, and federal level. Although the process of drawing maps is a very technical skill that very few can master, everyone has a right to express how these boundaries affect their lives. Voter suppression continues to be a major issue in Mississippi. Barriers to voting, as well as the lack of political representation, are avenues to the disenfranchisement of citizens. My organization, along with the Mississippi Civil Engagement Roundtable, have documented years of voter suppression tactics that have led to considerable amount of mistrust in the voting system. Mississippi remains at the bottom of the nation for the lack of access that it provides to citizens for voting. Adequate systems such as the lack of online voter registration, lack of early voting programs, and an absentee voting system that requires notarization of the application and ballot. The COVID-19 pandemic made these issues even worse. Many states implemented ballot drop programs and other efforts to ensure the safety of both voters and election officials. Mississippi could have used this urgent health crisis to rise to the occasion and put the health of its citizens first, but we did not. Instead, we passed legislation allowing individuals who contracted the virus or were caregivers to use this as an excuse to vote by absentee ballots. This caused more confusion for citizens and election workers who then had to put their own health risks to provide ballots for individuals with the virus. This is voter suppression. Incidents like these continue to display themselves in various forms that make it more difficult for people to vote. Among the top of the list of those concerns are voter purging, confusion regarding polling places, and the lack of adequate election equipment. Citizens of Oktibbeha County deserves a fair voting process that is handled with integrity. The development of fair political boundaries at the local, state, and federal level can help us improve our election process by developing districts that keep our communities together and are transparent. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, sir. Chris Taylor. I have two questions. Number one, prior to setting boundaries, I have worked elections here in Oktibbeha County for years. And over the last 10 years, the last time we did this redistricting, we went from like 10 splits to 20 splits at one precinct. Now you got to look at your average person who worked in that election. Please look at that. Ask the county for help. I know you're not supposed to, but you need to ask the county where's the best place to split. I know you go by those census blocks, those little blocks that group so many people together here and there. But you can get a recommendation from the county where to make that split. That would really help us. And with the population in Mississippi, according to what I read, is losing, do you all think it's going to actually be a big difference in the way you're going to split the state of Mississippi in these congressional districts? Just think about those two questions, and I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Does anyone else have a comment? All right. That's the only ones I had. At this time, is there any member of the committee have anything they want to say? Okay. I want to thank, once again, I want to thank our hosts for providing this space. I want to thank the public for their attendance, and I want to thank our staff just for all the work they did in getting this ready, and remind the public that we're just at the very beginning of this process, and that that the comments we have, you know, you can submit any comments, suggestions, proposed plans by mailing, once again, to Ted Booth, Staff Council Joint Reapportionment Committee, P.O. Box 1204, Jackson, Mississippi 39215 1-1204, or you can send an email to ted.booth@peer.ms.gov. And like I say, please provide the information we would need that we can follow up as far as emails and addresses. And if there be no further comments, I move that we stand adjourned.